Hi there, I'm Jules. Nice to see you again. The word of the day today is cone. You know, like this. Like an ice cream cone. Like a cone. It's a cone. I got this in Japan, isn't it cute? If you'd like to know why cone is the word of the day, watch some of my other videos and find out. FYI, the word of the day for today will be in the next video that I post, and that's how it is for all my videos. So I should start saying that now, shouldn't I? Probably. So today we're playing the testimony of Trixie Glimmer Smith again. I really liked what we saw last time, so I'm intrigued to find out where the rest of this game goes. And I saved this time, unlike the last game that I played and I forgot to save. But I actually didn't. I just auto-saved. But now I actually saved. Alright. I woke up. It was 9 a.m., several hours earlier than I would normally wake up, but after that nightmare, I was glad to be conscious. Nikita liked to tell me off for waking up late, so I assumed she wouldn't be expecting me awake for a few hours. My head still felt stuffy, so I decided to walk around the university grounds and get some air. It was a pleasant morning. A gentle wind blew softly on my weary eyes, a welcome break from the heat wave. The poster says Nikita is your future, prepare for it. Jeez. Still, it seemed like it was going to be another warm summer day. Unfortunate. It was the last thing I needed with my albinism. I'd have to put a lot of sun shampoo on my fur. The uni campus was really nice, albeit a little old-fashioned. It looked like somewhere that would be haunted, and actually was, albeit only by the occasional gaunt-looking PhD student. How many times are they going to say that word? Not that I was complaining. Whether my experience in the basement was real or not, I had quite enough of ghosts for now. I walked past the old clock tower. It would have looked a lot more impressive if it wasn't broken. I don't know why you don't replace it with a digital one or something. Although obviously I'm aware that it isn't really your department. That wasn't an attack on you, faculty admins. Below that was an old statue of the university's founder, P.H. Lovecraft. He was speciesist. He was a speciesist dickhead, but now he's just dead. I stopped. I found one of Nikita's student presidency posters. It was pretty daunting. Though on the plus side, she changed her slogan to something slightly less fascist. Nikita is your future! Prepare for it! It's not great, though. Although in retrospect, that might have been worse. There was a box of leaflets under it. Nikita was certainly prepared for next year's election. It was almost a shame the caretakers would probably take this stuff down by next week. I kind of wanted to take a look at one of the leaflets, if just out of morbid curiosity. Yeah, I'll look at it. Bluebell University Student Union Presidency Election 2019. Nikita, a manifesto for a stronger world. Bluebell University, once the 9th highest rated university in the country. Now a decaying, ruined institution sitting at a lowly 11th. Its student body has become lazy, undisciplined, and led astray by bad leadership, poor facilities, and social societies. But I shall change this. I shall make us strong. Who am I? I am Nikita. I am the top student on the Regional History and Culture Studies course here at our prestigious university. I shall one day be our greatest student union president. This, fellow students, is my promise to you. My enemy candidates may be many, but I assure you all, among them my equals are none. Tabithia Knight, especially, is a try-hard bitch and will not save us from our collapse. My 5-point plan for a stronger world. The library must be expanded and opened eternally, so that our minds too may expand. Only through knowledge can we take our rightful place in the world. 2. Too much of the university's budget is spent on frivolous activities, parties, societies, and trips to name but a few. This must be diverted to improve our facilities. 3. The union has many worthless delegates. The sports officer, the societies officer, and the administrative team, among others. These positions should be dissolved. All power must flow to the executive. 4. The student union president should be made a permanent position, lest future presidents veer from my vision and lead us back into the abyss. 5. We need to fix the vending machine outside Wilbur Hall. It no longer properly dispenses toffee millet bars. Thank you for your time, and remember, a vote for my enemies is a vote for your own destruction. Jeez, Nikita has issues. I tossed the leaflet back into its box. I eventually got back to my room and took a quick shower, making sure to cover myself in sun shampoo. I was really lucky to not get burnt yesterday, given how long I was out. Maybe the spores from that cottage rejuvenated skin and left a healthy glow on your fur? Though looking at my gaunt, tired face in the mirror, I doubted it. I finally got around to cleaning up the cereal I spilt yesterday. Better late than never, I guess. I ended up just fucking about on my laptop to keep my mind off of things while I waited for Nikita. There was a sudden knock at my door. Trixie Glimmersmith, stop writing weird monster erotica and open up! I slammed my laptop shut. I still don't know if she was spying on me or it was a lucky guess. Coming! I threw some old underwear behind my bed in a vain attempt to seem less disgusting and lurched over to the door. I opened it up and Nikita marched into my room, almost knocking me over. Jeez. Hi, Nikita. You have the book? Nice to see you, too. Cut the crap, Trixie. Where's the play? Fine, whatever. But look, we need to talk about some stuff, okay? Some weird shit happened when I was finding this. I rummaged around in my bag for the book, eventually pulling out the scaled yellow tome. Wow. It's really real. For once, Nikita seemed almost speechless. She walked over to me, seemingly unable to wait to get hold of it. I handed it over, but part of me wanted to keep it for myself, if just for its value. Nikita was about to undo the ribbon and leaf through its pages, but I put my hand on it, stopping her. She shot me an angry look and almost pulled away. Nikita, seriously, we need to talk. I told her everything I remembered about yesterday. My time exploring Daffodil Lane, the missing squirrels, the abandoned cottage, the skulls, the ghost, waking up in a field. I told her I didn't even know where the play had come from. Nikita, I think we should talk to someone. The police, maybe. There were skulls in that basement. This isn't just some silly thing. Trixie, those skulls were obviously props. You said yourself there's an artist on that road. They always do weird shit like that. And no offense, but the options here are either 1, you saw a ghost. Or 2, you, the person who reads ghost porn all day, were sleep-deprived, dehydrated, overheating, and breathing mold spores, and imagined a ghost when you saw some spooky props. Then you forgot half the day and fainted in a field after finding the play in a cottage. By the way, the reason I'm trying not to laugh right now, Mickey is behind me, and he is biting my hand. A little hard, but it's fine. Wait, did I say that already? Yes. It was a good point, but I still felt unsure. I want to call the police. I sighed. You're right. The police are totally corrupt anyway. Thanks, capitalism. There, I told you it was pointless. Now, just keep it to yourself and I'll help you with your coursework again. Once I finish reading the play, naturally. Is that a deal, Smith? I felt wrong for not trying harder to get the police to check out that cottage. I knew it was selfish of me to ignore what might have been a huge deal, but I needed Nikita's help. I couldn't face the idea of going back to my parents after fucking up my education and not talking to them for months. I let out an audible sigh. Whatever, as long as we're even now. Wait, should I have called the police? I thought we were gonna call the police and, bring them to us. I'm actually gonna go back and call the police. I'm not thinking correctly because I'm being attacked by a dog. Ow! No, shut up, Nikita. There are real skulls in that place. I'm phoning the police. I just won't mention the weird stuff. This is serious. It's more important than some dumb story. Nikita's lips visibly curled when I described the king in yellow as a dumb story. Ow. Fine, whatever. Phone the police, but when you get arrested for breaking and entering, don't cry to me on the phone from your jail cell. I was pretty certain she was bluffing. I wouldn't get in trouble for that. Oh, I was pretty sure she was bluffing. I wouldn't get in trouble for that, right? I dialed the number for the police on my phone, and after a brief wait, an operator picked up. Hi, yes, I'd like to report a suspicious house on Daffodil Lane. The creepy one, yeah, by the woods. Uh-huh, right. I mean, there were skulls in it. Yeah. No, skulls. I saw some blood, too. What, seriously? Of course you have the budget to investigate it. You're like the police. It might be important. What about those missing squirrels that live literally 50 feet away? Uh-huh. Right. Ugh. See, this is why no one likes the police. Oh. They'd hung up. I looked back to Nikita. Her expression was as sour as it had been when I started, but she seemed significantly smugger. Smugger? Wouldn't that be more smug? Apparently, they don't have the budget to reinvestigate the squirrels, and they wrote the abandoned cottage off because no one could live in a place with air that full of hallucinogenic spores. I paused for a moment, considering how that could explain the ghost. Which doesn't make me feel great about breathing it in for so long yesterday. There, I told you it was pointless. Now just keep it to yourself and I'll help you with your coursework again. Once I finish reading the play, naturally. Is that a deal, Smith? Oh, okay. I felt wrong for not trying harder to get the police to check out that cottage. I knew it was selfish of me to ignore what might have been a huge deal, but I needed Nikita's help. I couldn't face the idea of going back to my parents after fucking up my education and not talking to them for months. I let out an audible sigh. Whatever, as long as we're even now. Of course we are. I never lie. I wasn't sure I believed that. Well, I'm off to read this. I do appreciate your service, Trixie, as much as I hate to admit it. I'll draft your coursework for you in a day or two. You have to finish it yourself, though. I am not your mother. Nikita was being uncharacteristically nice. Maybe she was warming to me? Anyway, you should get some sleep. You look like shit. Or not, I thought as Nikita marched out of my room. The king in yellow clutched tightly against her chest. Thanks, Nikita. I stumbled back into my bed. Nikita was exhausting. A buzzing woke me up a few hours later. Someone was calling me. I was groggy and confused, so no different to normal. I reached for my phone, and through my blurry eyes I could make out Heidi's name on the screen. Hey, you owe me a job. I stopped when a bit of drool fell out of my mouth. I've never been good with naps. I need you to come to my shop at like 5 today. Don't bug out now. You owe me for that crowbar, remember? And given your obviously bullshit explanation, you don't want anyone to find out you were blatantly breaking and entering some poor innocent's house, right? She had seen through my lie. Great. Though it definitely wasn't an innocent's house. I didn't really want to explain that to her. Hey, no. Rude. It was for urban exploration, actually. Oh, right. Sorry. I just assumed since you were lying, you were off to rob someone or something. Look, I just need your help, okay? You promised. I did owe her, and it wasn't like I had anything else to do. Besides, it'd be good to get outside and distract myself for a while, even if I should have been working on my report. Okay, I'll help. Good. My shop at 7. Don't be late. I have a taser. Wait. Oh, okay. Everyone is so rude to me. I curled back up in bed. I was still pretty tired. I had half a day to kill until Heidi needed me, and I didn't want to sit here stewing on my own thoughts all day. Yesterday had fucked me up pretty badly, whether I wanted to show it or not. I found a coupon for a free bottle of sugar rabies in my sock drawer a few weeks back, so I figured since I had nothing else to do, I could head to town and use it. Anyway, the shopkeeper let slip that the only reason Sugar Corp was giving the stuff away for free was because anyone who drank a can lost an average of 3 teeth, so no one was buying it anymore. I guess they were hoping people would risk a bottle for free and end up hooked on its dubiously legal chemicals. I knew better than to wrangle with that, since I don't have that many teeth, being a rat and all. A rat? You're not a mouse? You look like a mouse to me. Fucking capitalists. Okay. My phone's clock said it was almost midday and I hadn't really eaten yet. I figured I'd combine breakfast and lunch. I decided to call this new meal Lunchfest. My thoughts were cut off when a familiar figure tapped on the window next to me. I recognized Greg, the small sugar glider from yesterday. I'd wandered past their bakery without realizing it. I guess my subconscious was telling me to get Lunchfest at Greg's. Hi Greg.
Hey Trixie, are you here for some tasty treats?
Yeah, I guess so. I looked around at the selection. The triple chocolate muffin I'd eaten yesterday had been really nice. I did kind of want to try something new, though. A vegetable roll, that sounds good. A vegetable roll would be nice. I need to keep an eye on my sugar intake, haha.
All my vegetable rolls come with a triple chocolate muffin for just...
Yes. Greg scurried back behind the counter and placed the food into a little paper bag. Fortunately, I'd remembered to bring my wallet today.
It's nice to see you again. Sorry the bakery was so busy yesterday. I could see it was making you anxious. It's a lot calmer today.
The fact that 2 customers were considered busy made me feel slightly bad for Greg. Was the bakery not doing well? Oh, no problem. Sorry for being weird yesterday. It was kind of hot, and I'd already fainted once, and I get anxious about buying stuff. Greg laughed sympathetically.
Oh no, I hope you're feeling better today. Here, have a bottle of water on the house. That should stop you fainting again.
I felt bad accepting something for free, given my suspicions about Greg's financial situation. Oh, no, that's okay. I'll live. No hiking in the sun for me today.
Okay, well the offer's there. I wouldn't want any of my friends fainting.
Their friendliness almost reminded me of Parsnip, though thankfully Greg seemed to be capable of conversations and had an actual personality.
You seem to like cakes, Trixie. Do you make any yourself?
I shook my head. I don't really do much baking, or cooking in general. I basically just eat snacks and drink energy drinks. I probably have 4 years left to live.
Oh no, I hope not.
They giggled. Ow! Ow! Don't you like cooking? I don't mind cooking, but I have kind of a short attention span, so my food usually ends up burnt. That was a slight understatement. The fire brigade had been called twice since I started uni, thanks to me. I used to bake bread with my parents when I was younger, but we just kind of stopped at some point when I got older.
Aw, that's sad. I used to bake with my dad a lot. It was really fun. It's probably why I ended up being a baker. You know, I could always use some help here. I could teach you to bake treats.
It was a really kind offer. I did want to learn baking, even if it was just another way to fuel my sugar addiction. Oh geez, that's really kind. I feel like I just waste your time though. I'm a bit of a fuck-up, and you probably don't need that when you're already having money trouble. I trailed off. Greg seemed to see where I was going. I was worried I'd upset them, but they seemed to hide it.
If you don't feel up to it, don't worry. I know tomorrow morning probably won't be very busy though, so feel free to come along if you change your mind.
I did like the idea, and Greg was really sweet. Thanks, Greg. I'll think about it. Sorry, I'm kind of a mess right now. It's been a tough few days. Weeks. Years.
No worries. Just let me know if you're coming along. Would you like my number? I'd talk some more, but I have to make a delivery in a few minutes.
They motioned towards a wedding cake. A lovely icing statue of 2 cute mice girls kissing sat on the top. Oh, sure, yeah. Greg passed me a business card.
Great, thanks, Trixie. I better close up. I'll see you soon.
See you, Greg. I waved goodbye and left the bakery munching on my food. I expected Belle would be at the Attic Mouse bar down the road, and I figured I may as well give her a visit to waste some time before I met Heidi later, if just to show I wasn't ignoring her offer. The Attic Mouse had a warm, friendly atmosphere, and I was relieved to see their drinks were super cheap. By bar standards, at least. I walked inside and found it was pretty quiet. Understandable, really, given the time of day. Belle was sat in a corner by herself with several glasses of alcohol in front of her. I'm not really into alcohol, so I dropped 10 euros/pounds on the bar to pay for my pint of cola and walked over to her. Hey.
Hey, Trixie. Nice to see you came along.
Sadly, no one else has. Well, we pre-ordered the drinks, so more for me, I guess. She downed one of her shots. Oh, I mean, I'm not good with groups anyway. Do a lot of people usually show up? Well, there's Greg, who you've met, my pal LaRose, an artist down Daffodil Lane way. Wait, I know LaRose, the tall rabbit, right? Huh? No way. Nice lady. She hasn't turned up recently, though. Well, she ain't been feeling great recently. It's hard for her to find the energy to hang out, you know? There's also Heidi. She's cool. A little scary, but a great gal. She runs a shop here in town. Yeah, I met her yesterday, too. She's more than a little scary, though. She's all bark and no bite. Doesn't get on so well with LaRose. They almost ended up glassing each other a few weeks back when Heidi said neopunk biker art was better than neopunk bohemian art. I don't know what either of those are, so I didn't think it was my place to mediate, you know? Jeez. It's weird how I met literally all of you by chance yesterday. Almost too weird, I thought. That is weird. We all know each other, and now we all know you too. She took another sip of her drink. I copied her and sipped my cola. I felt a little awkward and just ended up staring at the TV in the corner for a bit. The Prime Minister was giving a speech about sheepzit. It's like Brexit. Sheepzit. I rolled my eyes. I was getting pretty tired of hearing about it non-stop for the last 2 years. This is getting ridiculous. Leaving the Northwest Union just became its official sheep mascot. Leaving the Northwest Union just because its official sheep mascot. Leaving the Northwest Union just because its official sheep mascot bit the Prime Minister's 4-year-old. It's so petty. Exactly. If she didn't want her kid getting bit, she shouldn't have let her roll around in grass, then go pet a sheep. We both shook our heads and tutted. So you're like a milkwoman, right? That sounds kind of fun. Driving around and seeing places all over. I don't get out much, so nah, it sucks. Oh, not much traveling either anymore, I'm afraid. Oh, of course. When you were talking to Greg yesterday, you said you only go to North Acres now, right? North Acres, yeah. Nasty place. Why? She squinted at me quizzically. Oh, it's just like I study local history and stuff. North Acres is meant to be really good for that, right? It's kind of old-fashioned and remote, despite only being a few miles from town. I've wanted to take a look around there, but it's kind of hard to get to. I couldn't find any buses that go that way, and no way am I paying for a taxi. Huh, yeah, they shoot down every proposal for a bus route. I think I might be the only outside interaction they get besides postman. They're a weird lot. I try not to spend too much time there. She shrugged and took another drink. But hey, if you want to have a peep around there, you're welcome to come along tomorrow morning. Oh wow, I mean if it isn't an issue. Not at all, I could use the company. Not much to do on the job, and the boss says if he catches me reading magazines at the wheel again, he'll fire me. Belle's phone buzzed. She took a look at it and sighed. Ugh, speaking of the great dictator. I gotta get going. Apparently, the sheep have escaped from Daffodil Lane. Probably that kid opening the gate because it looked sad being closed again. She shook her head and downed the rest of her drink. I suspected I knew who she was talking about. Oh no. I better stick around. I still have some stuff to do in town. Well, feel free to shoot me a message tomorrow morning if you're up for a really dull adventure. She chuckled and added her number to my phone. Wow, everyone really wants to hang out with me. If this were a lame dating game, I'd assume they wanted to get in my pants. Fortunately, I keep my life very PG. Yes, but you say fuck all the time. I wasn't sure how much I believed that, given recent events, but the slight hope nothing involving Nikita and her stupid play would escalate beyond comic mischief and some rude language was reassuring. I don't play enough video games to get that joke, but sure. I hadn't meant to say that out loud. Anyway, I better get going. See you around, Trix. She strolled off as calm as ever. I finished my drink and sat around for a while. Glad today had been full of distractions. I still wasn't ready to think about yesterday's events. Eventually, I knew it was time to head to Heidi's. I didn't want to be late. She apparently had a taser. I have to admit, I was slacking on my way to the Heidi's shop. Drinking a pint of cola right before walking wasn't a great decision on my part. Sorry I'm late. I'm here now. Please don't tase me. Ah, Trixie. I was about to call you. Good. Thanks for coming. I was worried you might be a deal breaker. And then I would have had to tase you. I don't think that was a joke. Why do you have a taser anyways? Is that even legal? Probably. It's for self-defense, right? And good company on lonely nights. Okay, enough fucking around. We have a lot of work to do. She emboldened me into her office. It was pretty small and completely cluttered with cardboard boxes. Okay, Trixie, you're going to help me with my side business, spring cleaning. We're going to go through these boxes and sort through the junk into these two much bigger boxes. This is the stuff to be burned box. She kicked a generic wooden crate soaked in petrol. I chose not to question her health and safety practices and just tried to avoid breathing too much. And this is the stuff that might actually be worth money box. She tapped a sturdy metal safe. Okay, so what kind of stuff are we sorting through? Like extra stock or what? Just like old antiques and books. Nothing too important. Let's just get on with it, okay? I want to close on time. She dropped a cardboard box full of junk onto the desk in front of me. I started rooting around in it and found it was full of trash. Mostly dusty books falling apart at the seams and broken old antiques. But the more I looked, the more it became clear some of this stuff might actually be valuable. I pulled a golden bracelet out of the box and blew the dust off of it. Engraved onto it was a strange fish-like face with a single opal eye that seemed to stare at me. Geez, how much money do you make selling this stuff? Heck, where do you get this stuff from in the first place? This looks expensive. Heidi shot me an annoyed look. Don't question it. So a lot, and illegally. Got it. I chuckled to myself. Heidi seemed unamused. I carefully put the bracelet into the safe. As I sorted through the box, it became pretty clear there was a theme to Heidi's stuff. It was all in some way arcane. Old magic books, spooky scrolls, and even what seemed to be occult apparel, like the bracelet I'd found earlier. Heidi, do you believe in any of this stuff? Monsters and magic, I mean. She looked at me for a moment, somewhat puzzled. Of course not. I've never seen any monsters or magic. But don't you ever get tempted to try out any of the spells in these books? I opened up one of the thick, dusty tomes and skimmed through it looking for an example. Before I could read anything, Heidi slammed it shut on my fingers. Hey, ow! Okay, new rule. You don't look at anything for longer than it takes to work out if it's valuable. Got it? I nodded. No, I don't believe in this stuff, but... Look, I'd like to keep it that way, okay? I've met people who like this crap, and it messes with their heads. This stuff is best left ignored, okay? Ignorance is bliss. She got back to work. I envied her lack of belief. I hope with enough time my brain could fully convince me that what I saw the night before was just a heat, dehydration, and spore-fueled hallucination. But I think even then I knew the truth. Heidi seemed to know that we were only inches from madness and intended to never test that distance. We sorted through the boxes for a while. Most of the stuff was pretty uninteresting, but a few things caught my eye. A copper amulet, a shard of amber with a strange ancient bug frozen inside of it, some long-distant ancestor to a modern bee, perhaps? A manuscript detailing a ritual to summon rain, and at one point, a Dungeons and Fungeons rulebook with Heidi's name on it, which was quickly grabbed off of me and stuffed into Heidi's desk drawer. I was getting pretty bored. Some of the stuff looked really interesting, but I knew Heidi would snap at me if I tried to look into any of it. Fortunately, there was a sound outside. Someone had walked into the shop. Heidi slinked over to the peephole in her office door suspiciously. Ah, it's a customer. Trixie, you take care of that stuff. I'll go deal with this schmuck. She walked into the shop, snapping at the customer for looking at something too strangely before the door closed behind her. I picked up one of the last items in the box, a small book titled Spiral Speeches of the Star Gods. Most of it seemed to be missing, but there were a few pages left. It sounded kind of interesting. I'm gonna read it. I decided to use this chance and flick through the remnants of the book. Spiral Speeches of the Star Gods. Across the world, hundreds of tablets etched with identical spirals have been uncovered by archaeological digs. Thanks to bird mythology, these are popularly known as the Star God tablets. Though there has been much speculation around these strange artifacts, the most obvious origin is clearly the humble sheep. Famously, every sheep has a near identical spiral on their right front hoof, a strange evolutionary quirk. These exactly match the spiral seen in supposed Star God tablets. As the Star Gods are without a doubt entirely fictitious, the most obvious conclusion is that ancient societies would use sheep to produce this strange art. Most likely these etchings were painted when originally created, but any evidence of this has long since faded with time. Of course, some old bird legend would suggest that sheep created these themselves by pressing their feet into wet clay and allowing it to harden. This would make sense if not for sheep showing no signs of the creativity needed to create such art, let alone the intelligence to produce clay tablets. That said, anyone who has seen the footprints of a sheep can certainly agree that the process would be physically possible for them, if unlikely. This may merely be a misinterpretation of the claim. It is entirely possible sheep were specially trained to perform this task, or had their hoofs used as tools after death. Other bird legends describe the supposed star gods themselves creating these texts, hence their relevance to the tablets, though such stories are the realm of fantasy. The largest discovery of these relics were found in the ash islands of Oceania, which would have fallen from the sky after being thrown into the air by the Dark Great Age cataclysm. This would make their original location the Siberian Wastes, the supposed home of the star gods. Nevertheless, this theory is ultimately the pages ended there. The book had seen better days. It had been an interesting read. I threw it into the trash box. It wasn't long before Heidi was back. Heh, sorry about that. Customers are a pain. Huh, you finished. Nice one. She looked genuinely pleased with me. You know, you didn't do a bad job. She seemed to think for a moment. Trixie, how'd you like to help me out again? For money, I mean. Your crowbar debt is paid. Oh, wow. I've never had a job before. Maybe. I wanted to help Heidi, if just to satisfy my curiosity about her strange inventory. But I also wanted to hang out with Greg or Belle. I wasn't sure if there would be time for that too. Decline Heidi's offer. Sorry, Heidi. I've got some other stuff going on right now. Hey, no sweat, Trixie. You don't have to explain yourself. It ain't exactly the most exciting job in the world. Ha 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 ha. Right, I better start closing up. Thanks for your help. I'll see you, Trixie. I wished her a good evening and started the walk home to my bed. I could definitely use some sleep. I was walking past Wilbur Hall on my way to bed when I noticed Nikita fumbling with the vending machine. She was trying to pull a bar of toffee millet out of its slot, but it seemed to be stuck. She gave the machine a frustrated kick, and the snack fell out. As she picked it up, she noticed me watching her. "Oh, hello, Trixie. I'm just on my way back to my room. I have to finish reading the..." She seemed almost scared to say it. "The King in Yellow. Yes, The King in Yellow." Nikita seemed skittish. Her usually tidy clothing was scruffy, her fur unbrushed, and her eyes flitted around the hallway frantically. Her constant fidgeting made her look eager to finish talking to me and get back to her room. It was like she'd just been for a spin in a tumble dryer full of caffeine. Are you okay, Nikita? You're kind of a mess. Have you been reading all day or something?" Yes, I have. All day, yes. Last night too. Preliminary research. It has been an illuminating read thus far. I need to read a little more, but... Trixie. She grabbed me by the shoulders, pulling me close. I looked down at her scared eyes. I knew all too much about the reputation of the King in Yellow. I didn't want to believe it could have done this to Nikita, but this wasn't right. "Trixie, I need to make some notes, and, I need to double-check, read between the lines, but... No, never mind. We can discuss this later, when I'm certain." She let go of me. "I better get back to my room. Yes. Good night, Trixie." She did a sort of shaky fast walk away from me towards the accommodation block. "Bye, Nikita." I was scared. Could this really have been the work of that play? I shook my head. This had to be sleep deprivation. She'd barely slept in weeks with her campaign planning and coursework. I didn't like Nikita, but I was genuinely worried about her health. I figured I'd let her finish reading and get some sleep. Then I could always make sure she was okay in the morning. I eventually got back to my room and collapsed onto my bed. It had been a busy day. I was planning to muck about on my laptop until I got tired enough to sleep, but it was on my desk and I couldn't be bothered to get back out of bed. I remembered the book about ghosts I'd gotten a hold of a few weeks back. It was probably still on the floor next to my bed. I remembered it being pretty tacky. Peering over the edge, I could see it was. After my sighting in the basement, I thought it might be relevant. If I was going to stay awake a little longer, I thought I may as well use my time productively. Before I could reach for the book, my phone buzzed. Tabby had sent me a message. That was unexpected. I don't speak to Tabby often, which is sad, because I kind of wish we were friends, but I don't think she really notices me. I used to think she was kind of weird, but after the last week, I have to admit I'm taking her more seriously. I wasn't sure if I could handle a conversation with her right then, but I did think it would be kind of nice to talk to someone. Tabitha Night. "Hey Trixie, one of my psycho crystals, the green spiral aligned one, went missing. I was wondering if you'd seen it anywhere." Trizzy. "Hey, sorry Tabby, I haven't seen it. When did it go missing?" "No worries. Somewhere today, I think." "Someone today, I think." "Oh no, I'll keep an eye out for it." "Hey, Tabby, do you know The King in Yellow?" "Sorry, not to bug you, just wondering if you're not busy." "Oh yes, the infamous haunted play. I know it. I can't say I've read it though." "Why? You researching it or something? I heard that's generally a bad idea." "Not to discourage you, I bet it would be a great study for next year." "Haha, no. I'm not going to read it. I'm pretty sure it doesn't even exist anymore." "I was just wondering if you knew much about it. You're a good student." "Ha, well, I have to be if I want to be a student union president next year, right?" "I read a few books on it in the uni library. Maybe you could get them out? The notes of Grand Inquisitor Wilhelm were really good for obvious reasons." "Anyway, I gotta go get some sleep. I'm going to Wolfest South tomorrow in town. Going to be super hot in my costume, lol." "Not in that way, you cheeky rat." "Maybe you should come to a WoolCon with me sometime, if you're into that." "Maybe. I'll let you get to sleep. Thanks, Tabby. I'll look out for your crystal." Tabby is nice, but I don't really know if she likes me or not. I wasn't super keen on the idea of going to WoolCon. Dressing as a sheep and whiffing, or whatever they do at those cons, didn't sound super appealing. Regardless, it was time to sleep. I had a surprisingly pleasant, if somewhat strange dream. I was a clerk marrying Nikita to a giant toffee millet bar. And then I married the entire cast of Cyber Draculias from Mars. Parsnip was there jumping up and down, throwing confetti. Let's not go into it. Regardless, it was a welcome break from the horror dreams I'd had the night before. I woke up feeling a lot better. It was pretty early in the morning, but I sent Nikita a message anyway. I didn't get a response and assumed she must have finally gone to sleep. I could check again tonight, and if she was still MIA, I could let security or the campus doctor know if she was acting funny. That said, I knew she wouldn't do the same for me. I lazed around in bed for a while until I felt too gross to not shower any longer. Once I was eventually somewhat functional, I decided to work out what to do. I think I should go with Belle. Might be the most interesting thing. I thought about Greg's invitation. I did want to learn to make cakes, but I knew Belle was heading to North Acres today. Given its reputation, I really wanted to see it for myself. I just hoped I hadn't left it too late. Then again, Belle didn't strike me as particularly punctual herself. I sent Belle a message, and as expected, she was still drinking her morning coffee. She said she'd pick me up on the way to North Acres. I quickly showered and got myself at least vaguely presentable. Yesterday's encounter with Nikita all but forgotten. Belle turned up in her milk float a good 10 minutes later than she said she would be. It was a rickety old thing loaded with a surprisingly small amount of milk. North Acres evidently didn't get through a lot of it. Hey, Trixie. Hope I didn't keep you waiting. Ha, no, not at all. Much. A bit. Well, you better hop on board. I hopped on board. I tell you to put the seatbelt on, but there isn't one. Tax reasons or something, the boss says. She shrugged. Still, this thing only hits like 30 miles an hour, so you probably don't need to worry about that. Come on, let's get going. I was starting to think this wasn't such a great idea. We drove along the main road for a while. I appreciated the chance to admire the view. Eventually, we turned off onto a bumpy countryside road. It was paved, albeit poorly. The milk float shook as it navigated the potholes littering the track. What's the matter, Trix? You look like you're gonna throw up. I probably did. I don't handle bumpy rides that well. I didn't expect the road to be so bad. It turns to dirt pretty soon, which is actually an improvement. I don't know what you expected, though. North Acres' reputation should have preceded it. You've got to be about the only person who actually wants to visit North Acres, I tell you. If I could get out of the milk run there, I would. I mean, half the reason I chose to move to Blue Hill County was because there's so many interesting places to visit. Well, that, and it meant I was a nice distance away from my parents. But I mean, like, North Acres has such a strange history and reputation. Besides that, there's the lake, Standing Stone Barrow. Cyber Draculia's from Mars World, the best fan-made theme park for Cyber Draculia fans. So I hear. And I keep meaning to visit that old bird settlement in the woods. Bree Tree? I've been kind of interested in bird history recently. Bree Tree, huh? Might be nice, get some of that old-fashioned learning done. I'm more of a street smarts gal myself. I know the name of every street in town. You get in my line of work. I don't think Belle knew what street smarts actually meant, or she was joking. It can be hard to tell with her sometimes. Belle was right. We hit the dirt road and the float stopped shaking. We wound slowly upwards into hilly North Acres. What the hell is that? We eventually trundled into Ovington, the largest village in the area. It was about what I'd expected. It looked like it hadn't changed since the Dark Ages. The buildings were old-fashioned, but kept in surprisingly good condition. It could almost have been mistaken for a normal old village, if not for the strange effigies hanging from every house. What the hell is that? Each was clearly handmade by the house's occupiers, but they all depicted the same thing, an elongated prehistoric deer skull with a tangle of twigs for antlers. Long rags of black cloth hung from them like a tattered cloak. I recognized the creepy things immediately as depictions of the antlered tree, a strange woodland entity I'd read about in some library book about local monsters and myths. North Acres is infamous for their worship of it. The details were fuzzy, but I recalled it being some kind of harvest god. Supposedly it had provided food for the region during the long ash storms of the Dark Age. Strangely, the area didn't seem to have any farms. No crops, no sheep, not even imports other than Belle's milk. And yet it still functioned. Creepy. Weird place, huh? It's like a history or something. Like a history? Yeah, old, right? Oh yeah, it's pretty old-fashioned and creepy. I bet they all vote for the conservatives. Sorry, I'll try not to inject too much political commentary into my statement, though I'm sure since you all work for the university, you don't like the conservatives either. Belle put up outside an old house. It was an impressive stone brick building, way nicer than town's crummy modern buildings. I kind of wanted to take a photo, but remembered last time I did that, my phone briefly caught fire. Okay, Trixie, I'm gonna go hand out the street's milk. You okay waiting here? Oh, sure, I'll wait. Plenty to look at, right? I was about to get another look at the poster when I heard the sound of smashing glass. I was briefly worried a local had thrown something at us. The way everyone spoke about them didn't exactly endear me to them. I turned to see Belle, milk and glass littering the ground under her. Geez, Belle, are you alright? What happened? Hooves, am I right? I'd been wondering how she would pick up the bottles with her hooves. Cows aren't exactly famous for their ability to hold things. Belle managed to get a hold of a few other bottles and made her way down the road. I noticed a poster on the building next to me. It was hard to make out with my eyesight, but it kind of looked interesting. I hopped out of the float. Looking around, I was glad the street seemed to be deserted. I think I'd seen one local scowling at us when we first entered the village, and no one since. The poster depicted the same entity as the effigies decorating the area. All residents are invited again to the Church of the Flesh Mother. August 28th, our mouse. Please bring gifts. Ew, Flesh Mother? Sounds a little natal to me. Gross. No wonder most cults died out once we got the internet and people had better stuff to do than worship a tree. What you up to, partner? Went for a wander? I thought I'd stretch my legs. Are you done already? Heh, no, I've only done the one street. We got a few more here. Then there's Wilshire, Oak Hill, Millsmith, Millsmith on Drought, Millsmith under hill, and then there's Ovington Church up on the hill. Come on, let's get moving. We drove slowly between each of the stops. All of the settlements were largely the same. A few old houses, posters for the celebration, and strange effigies. With the heat starting to beat down on me, North Acres was somewhat outstaying its welcome. So what is it you study at university then? Like ghosts? Ghost houses? No, what? I mean, I wish. That sounds fun. No, I study regional history and culture, like local history and stuff. I read some books about Blue Hill history back in college and thought it would be fun to learn about. Sounds fun. What job you looking to go into? I haven't thought that far ahead yet. Thinking's overrated. You should enjoy yourself while you're a youngin', before the world of work crushes your soul forever. I'm pretty sure Belle's only a year or two older than me, so I didn't really appreciate her calling me youngin'. We rolled to a stop at the end of a long driveway. A brick gate decorated by another of the weird effigies guarded a long dirt path which winded out of sight. A plaque confirmed that it was the church overlooking Ovington. You okay to wait here, Trix? I gotta walk all the way up to the church to drop the milk off. Last time I took the float up the path, some old guy yelled at me for disturbing the dirt. Oh, sure, I can wait. Belle climbed out of the float and grabbed a couple of bottles. This time, she only dropped one. She waved to me, then set up off the driveway. I slouched in my seat. Today had been interesting. The weather was great, and it had been nice to get outside after the last few months of staying in my room 24 hours a day. Perhaps more importantly, after the weirdness of the last few days. Belle had vanished up the track by now. I had no way of telling how far it went through the woods. I squinted, and I think even without my shitty eyesight, I wouldn't have been able to spot the church through the thick tree line. Suddenly, I caught movement out of the corner of my eye. The effigy had turned to face me. Ah! Had the wind blown it? I hadn't felt any wind. No, I'd have noticed a breeze. I was sure of it. The effigy stared into me with its empty wooden eyes. My stomach growled. I was starving. I heard a snap in the woods behind me and spun around. There was nothing there. I stared into the trees, not wanting to look away or blink until I was sure I was alone. My eyes became strained and blurry with tears. When I eventually turned back to the hanging effigy, I screamed. Ah! The hanging horror had moved from the right side of the gate to the left. I was sure of it. No, it didn't. I screamed and grabbed one of Belle's emergency raincoats from behind my seat. I dropped into the foot area of the seat and cowered under the coat, shaking. This place was wrong. It was cursed. I knew it. I was hiding for a long while, 10, maybe 15 minutes. Had Belle forgotten me? Had she been kidnapped by crazed locals and set on fire as a sacrifice? Did she have to run home and turn the oven off? Suddenly, the coat was yanked away from me, the bright summer sun hurting my eyes after my long, dark imprisonment. Trixie? Belle looked more than a little weirded out. Yeah, I freaked out a little. Sorry, Belle. The creepy effigy thing turned around and looked at me. I'm sure it was the wind, hun. No need to worry. She chuckled. Come on, there's 3 more stops, then we can head back to town and get lunch. Sound good? I crawled back up onto the seat and nodded. Sorry, Belle. I felt really stupid. I was pretty sure Belle was embarrassed on my behalf. No worries, hun. This place gives me the creeps, too. The heat probably gets into your head, you know? She was right. This entire area felt off. I thought back to everything I'd heard about North Acres and shuddered. So lunch, yeah? At Greg's? Lunch sounds good. We trundled along North Acres' dirt roads a while longer, stopping at the occasional secluded cottage to drop off a bottle of milk. I was thankful that Belle never had to walk up any long drives without me. I'd calmed down a little. The effigy had really spooked me. Belle was probably right. The heat wasn't good for me. Besides, the roads here had probably shaken my brain like a bottle of fizzy drink. It It had been my imagination. I hoped. Hey, Greg.
Hi, Belle. Trixie. How are you two doing?
Bad as always. I've been taking Trixie along on the milk run.
Wow, sounds exciting.
I ended up getting a bunch of cupcakes, and I think Belle got a coffee and like 20 vegetable rolls or something. So, Greg, I was hoping everyone would be down the attic mouse tomorrow night. You two want to come along?
Oh, geez, I'd love to, Belle. I have some stuff going on tomorrow night, though.
Oh, anything fun?
No, really boring stuff.
Yeah? What you doing? Greg's face blanked for like 10 seconds. I was about to ask if they were okay when they finally spoke up.
Tax! It's almost the end of the tax year. I'm gonna drink 15 energy drinks and work out all my tax returns.
Neither me or Belle knew enough about tax to really question that, though Greg's eyes flitted back and forth guiltily, and they looked like they might have been breaking out into a nervous sweat. I figured maybe they were fiddling with the books. Naughty. That's too bad, Greg. What about you, Trixie? I wanted to, but I thought I'd better check on Nikita. I was pretty pissed that someone I basically hate had become someone I felt responsible for looking after. Sorry, Belle. I have to do my coursework tonight. It's due pretty soon, and I haven't really started. Dang, that's a shame. Hopefully Heidi and LaRose can come along. Or it's just me by myself again. Oh well, I'm sure I can hit on some cuties if that happens. She forced a smile. I think she was a little sad. Right, Trixie. Let's get you back to uni. I don't want to get in the way of your degree. I was pretty glad to be back. It's getting way too hot outside. So, Trix, you want to come out again? You just let me know, okay? For sure, Belle. Thank you for taking me today. It was real interesting. Belle gave me a wave and sped off as fast as her rickety float could manage, which admittedly was pretty slow. According to Poppygon.com, Cyber Draculias from Mars was getting a reboot, so that was cool. Cyber Bat Razor had a new design, somehow even hotter than the old one. Irrelevant, sorry again. That was some pretty exciting news. Pretty soon that night took a turn for the worst. I had a nice day with Belle and spent most of the evening online looking up information about North Acres. It was as sparse as expected, but nothing I didn't already know. Eventually, I managed to get to sleep, only to be immediately woken up by knocking at my door. If it was Nikita, she'd be shouting abuse at me by now, so who was it?
Trixie, this is important. We need to talk. It's about the King in Yellow.
My blood froze. I'd completely forgotten to check up on Nikita, and by the sound of it, she'd deteriorated somewhat. I shouted a mess of words at her, my half-asleep mouth barely functioning. The knocking stopped. I managed to get my clothes on and open the door. Trixie, sit with me. She took a seat on my bed, the King in Yellow clutched in her hands. I was taken aback. Nikita always looked faintly repulsed by my hygiene. She would never normally consider touching any of my stuff. Nikita, are you okay?
Trixie, shut up. I'm fine. Now sit down and listen to me. I already told you this is important.
She didn't look fine. She looked even worse than last time I saw her. I nervously sat down. My eyes were drawn to the closed play. It was only a book, but it seemed to suck the air out of the room. I felt cold, confused, scared.
Trixie, I finished reading it. It says so much. You need to read it for yourself to understand it. It's just so... I can't explain. My head is a maelstrom. But Trixie, my point is, I'm in this play. Or I mean, I can tell it's supposed to be me. Trixie, I am the heir to the Broken Throne. I am the heir to Carcosa.
I was dumbstruck. What was Nikita on about? She was a character in some old play? The heir to a fictional city? It was madness. Nikita, I think you need to sleep. You're not making any sense. How about you wait here and I go get someone to help?
Trixie, you are not going to get me sectioned. Don't you dare accuse me of being sick or mad or... We both know I'm smarter than you, so shut up and listen to me.
Her eyes bore into me with genuine malice. She was scaring me. Okay. I'm sorry, Nikita. I'll listen. She stood up, pacing for a moment, the book still in her hands. Eventually, she stood over me, trying to look tall. I leaned back a little, hoping if she got what she wanted, she would calm down a little.
I am the heir to Carcosa, Trixie. At first, I didn't believe it, but all the signs are there. I've got this. I've had it since I was born.
She pointed at the white freckles on her face.
You recognize them, right? The Hyades, the constellation,
The eternal prison of Carcosa? I'd seen the black stars of the hiatus in my dream the night I found the king in yellow, but the markings on Nikita's face did not resemble them. Nikita, no, you're imagining it. They don't look like that. You should know, right? Being smart and all. You don't believe me, of course. Look, Trixie, just read the play. It's not the markings, there's so much. I noticed she didn't give any examples. Nikita dragged my desk over to the bed. It screeched across the floor, but I didn't want to stop her. She sat down next to me and placed the king in yellow on the desk. Read, please. You'll understand. I looked down at the play. Ever since I'd first laid eyes on the book, it had been at the back of my mind. I wanted to read it. I carefully reached out and ran my hand across the cover. It was cold. Open it, Trixie. We don't have forever. Okay. I'm gonna actually save here. I think this is a good time to save. So I feel like shit's about to go down. And it's already a long episode, so open the king in yellow. We're gonna read the king in yellow. Thank you so much for playing with me. This is crazy. I'm really sucked in. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. This is wild. So I love creepy stuff. I love mysteries. So I like it. Thank you so much for playing with me, and I will see you later.